Hey guys, DJ here. In the modern day and age, the newest series of Kamen Rider will always have a gimmick to them. But what's a gimmick? It's something that's meant to be eye-catching. So what is it really? It's the themes they portray? No. And I'm just gonna cut myself off here by saying it's the toys. I'm gonna be talking about the Kamen Rider gimmick toys. The series of Kamen Rider is wide and vast with an array of different gimmicks. Some being simple like, oh look, a bottle. Others being coins. And some being the holy grail of collecting them all. I need more. And this video is here to do two things. A chance for me to talk more about Kamen Rider, and for me to learn more about them as well. I've only watched a handful of series, so I'll use this as a gauge to see which series I should watch next after my sister and I finish Gaim. Side note, I do plan on watching every series. It's just gonna take a while. From the research I did, it seems like unfortunately I won't be able to talk about the Showa era and some Heisei era ones as well, since they don't really have a gimmick. Now, you might be wondering, DJ, what do you really consider a gimmick? Well, it's the collectible devices from the series, something more than just a figure or simple merch. For a better example, if you take a look at Ichigo's Kamen Rider belt, it's a good design, but there's no feature to add on or swap out. Ichigo doesn't have a form change where he can switch on it on a dime. For example, look at Gavv, he has his Pikmin, and Iji has his coins. I hope you understand what I mean. This video will act as a simple introduction to the show and its gimmick. And in terms of spoilers, it's only really the gimmicks. You don't really have to worry about spoilers, and I feel like you don't need to skip around. Mainly because I'm not going to be talking about any final forms or important plot points. It's just showing off the toys. Also, I'm letting y'all know, my English skills are not the best despite being a native speaker, so if I mispronounce anything, feel free to let me know in the comments, or make it a challenge and do a push-up every time I mispronounce something. So, starting off. Henshin! In the world of Kamen Rider Ryuki, special cards were created by making contracts with monsters from a mirror world. The creator of these cards said there is only one rule, and that is there can only be one Kamen Rider. The rest must be eliminated, and the winner gets a wish! It's a battle royale, and all the while this is happening, monsters from the mirror world are attacking people. The world of Kamen Rider Ryuki uses these things called advent cards. And how do you get one? Basically, make a contract with a monster from the mirror world. These cards, when you have one, lets you become a Kamen Rider. They also allow riders to summon different monsters as well. The cards also have attack and defense power, points representing how strong these cards are. And there are many, and I do mean many, different types of advents. There's sword and strike advents that lets you summon a weapon or do a special move, guard advents that basically summon shields, shoot advents that are guns, and many more different types of advents, like freezing, pausing time, or copying your opponent. There's also three types of decks. There's a blink deck. That's the deck you use when you need to make a contract with a mirror monster. There's a contract deck. This is what you get when you have a contract. And a survive deck, which can only be used by survive advent cards that allow the rider to basically go into their super form. And there's apparently only 3 of these in the series. The conception of these cards were based on how popular Yu-Gi-Oh was at the time, and I feel like you can see that when you take a closer look at the artwork. The dark colors along with the tone used really gives out the classic Yu-Gi-Oh art style. Finally, I find it funny that I actually do own the driver and have some advent cards as well, despite never watching the series. I got this at a Kamen Rider pop-up shop, and a lot of the things there were sold out. But I saw this, and then I saw the rider on it, and I thought it looked cool. So for those wondering, this series is on the list of what to potentially watch next. It's pretty high up there too. 10,000 years ago, there was a battle royale. This battle was fought by 52 demons known as the Undead, and the winner was the human undead, which is why humanity has control over the earth now. And after a lot of time, somehow the rest of the undead was released, set free, and now a new battle begins. They can be categorized by suits, being diamond, heart, spade, and club. In addition to numbers, 2 through 10, and in addition to roller suits as well, Jack, Queen, and King. There's even wild cards and joker cards as well. In addition, there are Prime Vestas and Wild Vestas. The Prime Vestas are cards for the corresponding suits of the rider that are obtained by sealing the undead with a proper blink. A proper blink being a card that's labeled for that specific undead. Or Wild Vestas, or what you get when you seal an undead with a common blink. The common blink being cards with no labels, meaning you can use them on any undead. So, you might be wondering why use a proper blink if common blinks are easier to use. Well, even though common blinks are easier to use, you won't be able to use the undead's full power. And you can see that the gimmick of this theme is playing cards. Now you'll notice each card has a little number on its side that represents AP. Think of it as a point system. When the writer has enough AP or points, they can use it on a card. They gain AP from fighting. The ace cards are used for transformation, the 2 cards are used for their weapons, the 3 cards are for punch attacks, the 4 increases mobility, the 5 is for the finishing kick, the 6 are elemental powers, the 7 is used for defense mechanism, the 8 is for utility based abilities, 9 is for exclusive abilities, 10 is special abilities. Wait, what does the difference mean? Someone more knowledgeable explain in the comments. The Jack card allow the riders to transform into Jack form, the Queen cards enable form changing, and the King cards evolve the riders into their King form and combines the power of all 13 categories. And when I take a look at them, comparing them to Advent cards, I really couldn't figure out what made them so similar yet different. But when you compare the artworks to each other, I started to realize the Fourze cards feel a bit more darker in tone and art direction. Pretty sure that Gothic is not the word I'm looking for. But comparing them side by side, I can definitely notice that the Advent cards have a more robotic and metallic-like feel to them. So I can't really describe it that well. I'm sure there's someone more knowledgeable than me who could explain it more in the comments. If not, my B, sorry y'all. Ryoto no Wagami is a man with a lot of bad luck, until he finds a strange ticket and somehow gets on board on a time-traveling train. Through shenanigans, he becomes Kamen Rider Den-O, where he travels through different timelines on the Den Liner to battle evil monsters known as the Imagine to prevent them from altering the past. These tickets are used by people on the time train to get to whatever timeline they want. Rank Rider tickets also allow the rider to chase down an Imagine that has leaped into a person's past by scanning the person's forehead. Rider tickets are usually colored black with silver accent marks that match the rider that uses them. And by swiping the rider pass across the belt, a rider can access their rider form. In terms of design, they're relatively simple compared to the other 2 cards. Unfortunately, there's not much for me to say. I'm gonna take a brief intermission to apologize ahead of time for some of these gimmicks. There really isn't a lot to talk about since some of these gimmicks are relatively simple. Even the Kamen Rider Ricky doesn't really have a lot to say about these in the grand scheme of things. But I'll do my best for each series, and if I get anything wrong, by all means, correct me in the comments. I think this is the case because Kamen Rider's Den-O powers mainly come from being possessed by the Imagine, which makes that more of a gimmick than this and the Rider passes, honestly. Because looking at the main form, yeah, it's pretty plain. But as you can see here, when he's possessed, he looks like your standard Kamen Rider. Other than that, there's not much for me to say, unfortunately. Okay, so Watanori Kanari lives in the infamous haunted house, and he has to fight Fangires, the very same monsters his father fought years ago before he disappeared. And as you can tell by this aesthetic, this series will be a classic horror movie monster base. Their gimmick collectibles are fritzos. When it comes to functionality, these gimmicks do the same thing as the previous ones, weapon, power-up, finishers, you understand that already. There are some fritzos that can mimic the sounds of others, resulting the user to be able to take weapons and other things that the rider can summon. So taking a look at the design more, each fritzo has a symbol representing what type it is, and has a specific color associated to it as well. They also serve the purpose of being a natural whistle. I can only imagine parents having to deal with their kids constantly using these. I know if I had one of these as a kid, I would be using one too. I should also note that this is the first instance of a gimmick collectible not being a card. If anything, I see this as a test by Toei to see how successful a toy gimmick can actually be. Henshin! This is Tsukasa Kyoda. He has to travel across different dimensions to eliminate abnormalities in each one, and he uses the powers of Kamen Riders to do so. These cards contain the powers of past Kamen Riders, and they're known as Rider cards. They also have a degree of sentience, since they seal themselves in Tsukasa until he does something to help the rider and learns a lesson from them. Also, note, technically these riders are from alternate worlds. After Decade comes to terms with himself being the destroyer of worlds, he's able to gain more rider cards by defeating the riders themselves. The motif and gimmick was decided to reflect the Kamen Rider game, Gamba de Card, this thing. And as you can see here, the cards are very similar to them. Also, it was the initial inspiration for the plot, because the plot was going to be Kamen Riders fighting each other. It was going to be Kamen Riders meeting each other via time travel using the Den Liner. This idea was scrapped, of course. I assume because of a lot of inconsistencies that would happen because of time travel. Overall, it's a simple concept, and a good way to collect cards of your favorite Kamen Rider. I feel like this is the simplest gimmick so far, concept-wise. Kamen Rider Blade and Ryuki both may have card gimmicks, but conceptually it is easier to come up with, what do we do with the card? Slap a Kamen Rider on it? My god, you're a genius.
Henshin.
Showtime Philip work as a pair of detectives trying to solve different mysteries and their connection to drugs, I mean Gaia memories. Using the power of deduction and the Gaia library, which is just honestly Google, they will solve the case. Gaia memories look like USB sticks and they go Joker! Each Gaia memory represents a part of the Earth's memory or concept. So there's dinosaur, weather, ice, even abstract things like fear and taboo. When a normal person inserts into themselves, they become a Domepad, the enemy of the week. Unfortunately, in the show, Shota and Philip don't really gain any new Gaia memories like you would expect in any other collectathon series. Well, it's not really a collectathon series by that point. It's very interesting to have a gimmick mainly be used by the villains this time around. Double mainly sticks to a single form with a few variants. We have Heat, Metal, Luna, Trigger, Cyclone, Juka, and Fang. Don't have fangs. Sorry guys, you guys have to get this PNG then. This formula is different, but I feel like it paid off well. Design wise, these are relatively simple, being one long rectangle and having the letter associated with it. The main 6 and Fang each have a little piece of silver or gold on them to show you which part of the double driver you slot them in. On their own, they have a little button on them that makes the sound. But when you want to do a finisher, you plug it into this to do a maximum drive. By the way, my sister wanted me to include that whenever Shota and Philip use the double driver, one of them passes out. The one passing out is whoever inserts it first.
Henshin.
Taking over the next segment is fellow Kamen Rider fan, Rhiel. Oh god, I just realized I never asked her how to pronounce her name correctly. Rhiel, if you're watching this, I am so sorry if I mispronounced it. Go check out her links in the description below. Also, I guess as an add-on, like and sub if you're enjoying this.
You count the medals, 1, 2, and 3. Life goes on. Ba-da-bam-bam, anything goes. The OOOs medals are relatively simple. 4 great alchemists created 50 coins, and one was taken out of each color to create a desire. You have bird, fish, tiger, rhino, and bug, all of which Eiji has to collect. Each coin goes into the driver's coin slot, and when you use the scanner, it makes funny noises. These coins also have a design that reflects the owners. Ank's got birds on them, Uva's has got bugs on them, etc, etc. Other than that, they don't really have an outside use like the fullbottles, or make noises on their own like the Gaia memories. From Kodansha, Kamen Rider Official MOOC Volume 12, that is not a typo, that is actually what it is called. A core metal consists of the following. You have the Ouroboros-solite. It's a special type of ore that the core metal is made out of. The name comes from the Ouroboros, the snake eating itself. The superior face, which is the animal symbol on it. The gold circlet, which is the golden ring. Its purpose is to protect the coin from erosion and physical harm. The crown ornament, which is the lines on the gold circlet. It's meant to be shock absorption that helps protect the coin. The Revice stone, which are the 2 dots on the coin meant to divert power away in case the coin is overloaded with energy. And finally, the turn face sign. It is the line on the back of the core metal.
Amahai has some strange things happening, and the new transfer student Gintaro Kisanari is here to make friends. All the while, monsters called Zodiacs start to appear, this leading towards the creation of the Kamen Rider Club, with its main gimmick being astro switches. Honestly, a fun looking gimmick toy that you can just play around on its own. It's like a fidget cube, or whatever those spinny things are called. I'm impressed that there's 40 of these things, and they're all unique in terms of design. Sure, some of them is just pressing a button or clicking a switch, but when you have a wide array of them, you have to admit, making each one unique is a difficult task. Design-wise, at the end of the day, they have different types of switches to fidget around with, all having the same core design, being the number they represent being located right here, and the gimmick of what the switches do being on top of it, with notable standouts being the super forms. These switches are also based on different branches of science or concepts relating to them, and these are aerospace engineering, kinetic bombardment, scientific drilling, radio signal characteristics, robotics, law of reciprocity, aerodynamic braking, horsepower, pneumatics, Coulomb's law of electrostasis, dissection, structural acoustics, inertia laws, the ideal gas law, muscular system, tension force, incandescence, projectile motion, powder chemistry, the 4 laws of thermodynamics and fluid dynamics, stealth technology, Newton's law of motion, hydrology, chemistry, chromatography, real and axial motion, marine engineering, somatosensory system, ecology, the Beyond-Salt law of electromagnetism, Newton's law of cooling, skeletal system, balance, Newton's law of universal gravitation, Bouling's principle, Da Vinci's aeronautics, zoology, identification, conservation of energy and mass. When it comes to the components, unfortunately I couldn't really find anything online that breaks it down. Closest thing I could find for the astro switches were that they're placed into 4 categories. Circle modules, which is for close combat, cross module, which is for mid-range, triangle, which is for movement, and square module, which are for support type items. A solar eclipse and some dark magic has released demons into our world, and our hero, Soma, has used the power of magic to save the world. Also, this is the series where this scene comes from. Each ring has a gem in it, and in the show, there are 2 types of rings. A left-handed ring, which is used for transformation, and a right-handed ring, which is used for spells. Kamen Rider Wizard has 4 rings, a flame, water, hurricane, and land ring, each of them allowing him to use their elements. Don't ask him what the gemstones are, they're all technically magic stones. I see them in the same way I see OOOs coins. They're there for the gimmick and it works. It's a simple concept, they're easy to collect. Design-wise, I wish I could say more though. It's mainly just a ring with a gemstone. Same goes for the other rings as well, the most notable one being the Beast ring, mainly because its design is the most unique out of all of them. I guess fun fact to the series, Toei was worried the series wouldn't do well in terms of toy sales, because rings are seen as jewelry, which is seen as a gross toy. I'm glad they did it anyways because this opening slaps. In this city, it's about dancing and the Yitterso Corporation. There's also these things called the Invis games, and our hero Kota uses his Sengoku driver to become an armored rider. Armored rider? Huh. Guess that's what they're called. He becomes an armored rider to fight off enemies and monsters. Ain't gonna lie, I really like this gimmick even though it's very simple. Taking a look at the lock seeds, you can tell that each one is based on a fruit. The lock is what holds it in the Sengoku driver. The gimmick of cutting the fruit is a nice touch as well. I also want to note that when you cut the lock seed, each one has a different interior representing what the fruit is. And specifically for the banana, when it's cut into... Okay, look, I can understand that the banana is white, but comparing it to every other lock seed, I find it quite funny that in comparison, it is just a banana outline. In the series, the lock seeds are obtained by picking the fruit from the Helhan forest, and when you pick one with the Sengoku driver equipped, they turn into the lock seeds. There are other variants of lock seeds, but they all follow the same concept as well. When it comes to the components, there is the slide shackle that controls the power of the lock seed. When it is unlocked, it creates a crack in space-time, and that's how it summons the armor. There's the cast pad, that is the shell that holds its shape, the lock release, which is the switch to unlock the lock seed, the sending body, which stores the energy from the lock seed, and finally the seed indicator, which shows what weapon it uses.
Hitting!
Drive! 5 speed!
Former police officer Shinosuke Tamari has been demoted and is sent to the Special Investigations Division to look into heavy acceleration, also known as slowdown. It's an ability created by the Romnoids that distorts time. Shinosuke is chosen by the driver to battle the Romnoid, or is it pronounced Void Mutes? Void Mutes? Let's go with Void Mutes. And this one's gimmick is shift cars. The shift cars are able to generate shift car high rays that nullify heavy acceleration, but if more void mutes are using heavy acceleration, you'll need multiple shift codes to counter them. They also have some type of sentience even though they can't speak. They make little honking noises to communicate. The toy cards that work with the belt, and little kid DJ would have absolutely loved these so much. You also have signal bikes, which are toy bikes. The same logic applies to them as shift cars. Breaking down a shift car's design, the design is made out of 5 parts. The revolved structure, which is the hinge and braces in the middle of the car. It makes a shield around the car to protect it in battle. You have the metal body, which is, well, the metal body, that's self-explanatory. The core driver, which is the mini engine in the car that counters heavy acceleration. The shift connect key that allows the shift brace to know what type of shift car you have. And the ability crest, which is underneath the car and shows you what ability the car has. Takeru is a ghost hunter, and he was murdered. Rest in peace. But he's revived now and must collect the 15 ghost icons based on historical figures within 99 days, else he will stop being alive. And you can see the pun right there, because you could say they're pretty iconic. The concept is cool, each eye containing the soul of a hero or historical figure. In the show, if you have one of these, it allows you to see ghosts. You also get immunity towards slowdown as well. When it comes to historical figures used for these icons, I feel like they definitely had an interesting combination of them. For example, I'm not surprised that Musashi is in here, but I am surprised that fucking Thomas Edison is. There's a few of them that will surprise you, and I'll just keep them at that. The components are the phantom entrance, an entrance that's inside the ghost icon. It's how ghosts are able to enter and exit the icon. It's on top of it, just below the iconic plate. The Spirit Hulken, the 4 semi-oval shaped arches placed diagonally at the outer surface of the icon. It's what keeps the icon in place when it's placed into the ghost driver. It holds the energy generated by the ghost inside them, and makes sure that the icon doesn't explode from it. The Silica Spear, the clear outer surface attached to the front of the icon. It's a shield generator that wraps the icon in a defensive shield to prevent damage during battle. The Quad Iris, which is the back portion of the icon. It's a monitor that displays the icon's state and indicates what state it's in, that being either stand-up, start-up, transformation, or move innovation. The iconic plate, which is the graphic seal placed on top of the icon, which shows what kind it is and what state it's in. The Ghost Liberator, which is a button at the side of the icon. Pressing it activates the energy release system of it. And pressing the icon inside of the ghost driver will allow the user to transform. There's this thing called the Bugster virus, and it turns its victims into monsters. To fight it off, the Japan Ministry of Health decides to work with a gaming company to let young doctors turn into Kamen Riders. What the fuck did I just read? And the method they use are gashats. They're these things that slot into game driver. 10 were originally produced, based on each one of Gaim Corp's games. When it comes to functionality, when a Kamen Rider uses one, they're at level 1, and they look like this. And by pulling the game driver's lever, they turn into level 2. And with the second slot, you can guess there's definitely more levels than that. Taking a look at the gashats themselves, you can see they're meant to be their own cartridges, each one being associated with a color as well. Breaking down the components, you have the RC circuit board, the layer of circuit placed on top of the rider gashat. It has the programs for turning someone into a rider with their equipment, the outer guard case, a cover that protects the internal works of a rider gashat, the area spreader, a game area generation device built in the rider gashat itself. When a game area is generated, well, it turns the area into a game. Directional sounder, it makes sound effects. The play starter, the rider gashat start switch. By pressing the switch, the gashat activates and the RC circuit board space lights up and creates and expands the game area. Finally, the gashat label. It's the game's title and art it's based off of. In the world of Kamen Rider build, Japan has been divided into 3 separate nations because of one person opening Pandora's box and causing the skywall to appear. Just think of it as a huge magic wall appearing. And now monsters known as Smashers have started to attack the public. It's up to Sento, a genius scientist, to fight off the Smashers and figure out the mystery behind Pandora's box, using the power of fullbottles. They're simple in concept and in design as well. Each bottle is based off an animal or a non-living thing. When you shake the bottles, they make a little noise as well. Taking a look at them, you can see each one has a special design, representing what they are. In terms of their components, the build bottles are made out of a shielding cap. The cap of the full bottle, it's a protective valve that prevents the contents from spilling out, and the cap must be turned so that the label is in the front. The material absorber, it can extract ingredients from smash, returning them to human form. The trans gel solid, the liquid substance inside the full bottle, it becomes activated when you shake it. It's also the material used to make the Kamen Rider suit and armor. Clear mode bottle, it's the clear exterior part of the full bottle. Its shape represents the abilities of each bottle. I really like the transformation sequence, especially with these guys, because it's injection molding and it's very satisfying to watch. Sugo is a high school student and he is destined to become the Demon King to rule the world. But at the moment, he takes his role as Kamen Rider Zio to stop these people known as the Time Jackers from destroying and changing the timeline. Zio has access to every Kamen Rider power in the past and the future, meaning he's still gaining powers to this day. He uses the powers connected to these watches known as ride watches. They can be created when the user has access to the original power, hence why time travel. This also implies that Kamen Rider is one massive timeline, which is weird to think about when you think about events like Japan being split into 3 nations, along with world-ending threats after world-ending threats. I'm just gonna pretend like they meant alternative timelines. And honestly, this is a really good gimmick. Time-based powers, clocks, and watches, you know. I think when it comes to comparing these to the Rider cards, these are better by a slight margin, just because I think displaying them seems more grand in my opinion. A standard ride watch is also made out of the following. The ride-on starter. It's the button on top of the ride watch. Turning it on will shift the ride watch onto a standby state before inserting it into the driver. Pressing it again will allow the rider to execute a finisher. The outer grip. It's the body of the ride watch. And the wake bezel. It's the dial of the ride watch. It's an energy valve, and when you rotate it, it goes from its sleeping mode to its activation mode, where it displays the rider symbol and the corresponding year. The Human Gear, created by the leading company for AI, Hidden Intelligence. It was made to serve humanity's every convenience. And a cyber terrorist organization begins hacking into human gears, turning them into monsters. Otohiden is the new CEO, and he has to take over the role of Kamen Rider 01 by using his company's technology to keep the world at peace. They transform using progrise keys, and it contains the data of animals. These keys remind me of the Switch pocket knives. Take a closer look at them, you can see the animal designs on them much better, and when you press the button on the side, the key opens up, allowing you to use it on the driver. The components of this are made out of the Rise starter, the progress keys activation button. Pressing it shifts the progress keys into the authorized standby state. You have the Rise monitor, a small monitor built into the progress key. It displays the progress keys rider model. The key connector, the progress keys output terminal. Unfolding the key connector allows it to connect to the transformation device in the Rise's port. Peace symbol, the progress keys symbol located on the key connector, so it can be identified when loading into a device. The Vice Keeper, it's the exterior of it. The trans lock cylinder, the progress keys lock mechanism that prevents key connectors from being unfolded. By authorizing the progress keys with a transformation device, the lock is released and it's possible to open it. Long ago, there was a group of swordsmen known as the Sword of Logos that protected the Almighty Book, a powerful book that contains everything known to man, and I mean everything, myths, creatures, science and technology, all of it. But due to a traitor, the book vanished and its pages were scattered across the world. And after a lot of time, Tomo picks up a magic sword and is now tasked to write the fate of this world before it falls into the wrong hands. And he'll use the power of the Wonder Ride books to do so. These books are divided into 3 categories. The Book of God Beast, which are mythical creatures. These books will go into the right hand slot of the sword driver. The Book of Animals, which is about living creatures. These go in the middle. And the Book of Stories. it has heroic adventures and tales, which goes on the left side of the driver. I feel like there should be more categories, especially because apparently these should be able to hold everything known to man. But looking at the Wonder Ride books themselves, when I first saw these, I assumed it would just be, an open and close type deal, no extra pages or anything like that, so I'm surprised there is actually an extra page. Honestly, I really like how they open when you draw the sword. For some of these gimmicks, it feels like some of them outshine the belt, while for others the belt outshines the gimmick. For this one, it feels like both are equal. In terms of components, there is the cover page, which shows what story it will be, the story page, which is the story itself, and the transformation page, the page that allows for transformation. There's also the gold binding, which is the Wonder Ride book's special cover. It protects the book, of course. There's also a speed reader function, which when you touch it, it allows one to quickly read the book. In 1971, a scientific expedition in Latin America discovered the remains of a demon known as Gavv, which leads Matsuri Kurosaki into creating the vistamps. They can be used to make a contract with an inner demon and make it manifest into real life. Later on, Mitsumi's son George continues his father's research, which leads him to Phoenix, a government organization who plans on stopping the Deadmans. Who are the Deadmans? They're a cult who has the remains of Gavv because they want to resurrect him. And George incorporates all factor into the vistamps. Don't ask me what that means. All I know is it allowed for the creation of the Revice system, a way to use the power of the demons to fight against the Deadmans. The vistamps are, well, stamps. On the bottom, there's a little design that matches the symbol shown when you use it. They're very simple since they all follow the same core design principle. Looking at the components, the activation knob, the vistamps activation device. When pressed with a finger, the vistamps emits a light and shifts it into the activation state and makes a noise. You get the vistamp body, which is the body of it, the genome relief, a metal relief that represents the stored genetic information. Its shape allows it to be distinguished even in the dark. There's the genome storage, a special container for storing the vistamp's genetic information. The genome stamper, which is of course the stamp. By pressing against the human body, a contract can be formed. In Kamen Rider Geats, there exists the Grand Desire Prix. People are selected to become Kamen Riders to participate in different challenges where only one will remain, the winner being able to obtain a wish. Wait, why does this feel familiar? Anyways, this series feels like it has multiple main characters, but the poster boy is Ace, and he is Kamen Rider Geats, and their main gimmick is buckles. Now, normally when you have a Kamen Rider device, the gimmick feels like a secondary type of thing, while the driver is the primary. Look at Build and W for example. Their driver has one whole component, and their gimmicks are just add-ons. Compare that to Geats, where the driver feels more of a secondary component, while the buckles are the main component. In the show, these are given out by random, so sometimes you won't see riders using what's best suited towards them. And with the helmet design, you can assume which goes with what pretty easily. The green helmet goes with the green buckle, the purple helmet goes with the purple buckle, and so on and so forth. You can also categorize them into two groups as well, the big pals and the small ones. You can tell the difference in their size and overall design. In the show, the small ones are widely available, while the bigger ones are harder to get. And design-wise, each one is pretty unique, with the only through line being they can slot in the driver and mix and match with each other as well. And of course, all of them have some type of activation gimmick. Once again, it's similar to both build bottles or Gaia memories, in the sense of you can swap them in and out, but the buckles feel like a more evolved form of it since they are the main design of the driver. When it comes to the main buckles, there's 6 of them, which also kind of sucks because you think a battle royale would have more. Of course, there are a ton of smaller ones, but they're not the main appeal. For the main 6, you have Magnum, Boost, Zombie, Ninja, Monster, and Beat. In the world of Kamen Rider Gotchard, chemies are artificial lifeforms that can imitate things in our world, and they're stored in ride chemy cards. Well, that was the case until they were all released at once. Our main protagonist is Hotaro, and he must gather the chemies with his Gotchard driver. Some chemies are good, while others have been corrupted by human malice, creating monsters known as Malgums. And there are 4 types of chemy cards. The rainbow chemies, they're like the evolved form of the cards. Ride chemy cards, which are the main ones our heroes collect, the rep chemy cards, which are basically copies of the ride chemy cards, and the daybreak chemies, which are variants of the cards. You can also break them down into different categories. For the standard chemy cards, there's job, insect, vehicle, animal, artifact, plant, occult, ancient, cosmic, and fantastic. Another thing I want to note is for the legend cards, each one of the riders actually have a lot of custom pet with them. And in terms of collectibles, this is probably one of the biggest ones in terms of how large the collection can be. Oh, by the way, in terms of use, you need both cards to add up to 10. You can tell how much a card is worth by this right here. In Gavv, there exists a whole nother world, where the Granuts are from, and the Stomach family runs an organization that kidnaps humans from our world and turns them into snacks, known as Dark Treats. Shoma, someone who came from that world and is part of the Stomach family, decides to leave, and he decides to protect the human world from the Granites. He uses the powers of snacks and food to create these little guys. They're called... but I can't pronounce that, so I call them little guys.
Aw, the little guys. I love the little guys. Okay, so to be honest, I wasn't really into this whole gimmick thing. Like, they were just in the background. But then in the show, they started talking like... what up? And yeah, I instantly fell in love with them. And they're just little funny guys that are willing to die for you.
In the show, Shoma uses them as security cameras, using them to patrol the city. They're so cute. They make little noises in the show. They also wish to die in honorable combat. Honestly, these just might be my favorite gimmick. And as you can see earlier, it's my sister's favorite gimmick too. They're really simple, being little snack bags that open up. There are also variants that make noises as well, and there's a huge selection of them. There's no exact breakdown I can do for them, so I'm just gonna make some simple observations. Overall, it seems like they have 4 distinct forms. One where their arm pops out. This is mainly seen in Popping Gummy or Choco. There's one where they have a little hoodie. You can see this easily in Marshmallow. And another one where they have like a gate-like opening. You can see this in Chips. There's also a pudding form that my boy, the GOAT, VRAM uses. Heshim! Finally, at this current moment, we have Zets. Baku is a normal, ordinary man with a boring life, but when he sleeps, he turns into an agent in his lucid dream. But in the dream world, monsters called nightmares appear, and they try to make nightmares a living reality. But with the belt he got in his dreams, Baku transforms into Kamen Rider Zets. The gimmick of this series are capsums. Capsums? Well, correct me in the comments. These are little balls you can spin with the middle of them. They act as fidget toys, with the closest thing I could say to them are fidget spinners. Oh my god, that's what they're called, fidget spinners! Baku gets them from the slot machine, capsum dropper, meaning he can always get more if he loses them. And if he gets multiple copies of them, he can just combine them like in a gacha game where you make one stronger. The capsum is made out of 3 parts. The part that makes it spin, you got the outer shell, and then you got the little window thing on the inside, if that makes sense. At the end of the day, no matter what, these gimmicks sold, seeing how Kamen Rider is still here today. I can't really say I dislike any of these gimmicks. It's more like since I haven't watched the show yet, I don't really know how I should feel about them. I started watching Kamen Rider because of the suits, and some of the other series because of the themes. These gimmicks for me feels like an extra sweet treat for me to enjoy. I really hope Kamen Rider continues on for a long time. I just got into it, and I would like to experience more of it in the future. And since the newest Kamen Rider show isn't out yet, I guess that's all I have for now. If you made it to this part of the video, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. This is the first big project type video I did. Guess I should also say like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know how I did, or how bad I did. And by all means, correct anything I got wrong. Also, at the time of this uploading, I still haven't finished Gaim yet, so let me know what me and my sister should watch next. There has been a few I've been thinking about. Honestly, I might start watching 2 series at the same time. Or start watching them on my own if my sister isn't interested in it. Also, to end off, I'm especially hyped for the newest season. All I know is the Chinese Zodiac is involved, and holy, that is my cup of tea right there. I love seeing this type of gimmick. You could probably guess what my favorite Limbus company faction is. Answer me, Jabayu. What does Hangyang need? More bunny girls! Hell yeah!